Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating paradox. It's this: the very force that drove the Industrial Revolution, the one that created so much of our pollution problem, well, that's the exact same force we're now hoping will fix everything. So, let's get into it.
I mean, just look at this. On the left, you've got the raw, brute power of industrial innovation, the kind that built our modern world, but also, choked our skies with smoke. And on the right, the clean, quiet innovation we're now betting the farm on to save us. It's wild, right? The same engine of progress that got us into this mess is now being told to get us out.
So that really brings us to the core question of this whole thing. When we're talking about the environment, is innovation the villain of the story, or is it the hero?
To try and figure that out, let's actually look at the case for both sides. We'll start with the, let's say, more destructive side of innovation.
You really can't deny it. Some of our biggest, most celebrated leaps forward have had some pretty devastating unintended side effects. Just think about the combustion engine or the invention of mass air travel. I mean, these were innovations that literally changed the world, that connected all of us like never before, but they also became these massive, ongoing sources of pollution.
But then, you got to flip the coin. That exact same human ingenuity, it's our best, maybe our only hope. Innovation is what gives us everything from super efficient building insulation, like you're seeing in this thermal image here, to renewable energy, and even brand new technologies that might be able to clean up the mess we've already made. Okay, so if we're going to pin all our hopes on innovation, we probably should be a little clear about what we're actually talking about. What exactly is eco-innovation?
Well, first off, it's not always some futuristic high-tech gadget. Actually, one of the most successful and widespread eco-innovations is something you probably deal with every single week: a well-organized recycling system. It's a pretty simple idea, right? But it's an organizational innovation that has a huge impact. Now, if you want the more formal definition, the European Union describes eco-innovation as basically any kind of innovation that pushes us towards sustainable development. The key thing here isn't the tech itself, it's the outcome. Is it reducing our negative impact? Is it helping us use our resources more responsibly? If so, it counts. And this brings up a really crucial point. Eco-innovation is so much bigger than just inventing a new thing. It actually works on a bunch of different levels.
So yeah, it can be a new piece of technology, like a system for recovering and reusing wastewater. It could be a new product, like biodegradable plastics. Or it could be a whole new way of organizing a company to track its environmental footprint. And then there's the biggest one of all, creating a brand new system from the ground up, like redesigning our entire energy grid to run on 100% renewables. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, when you see how these ideas can intersect. Just look at the difference between a small, incremental change, like, say, making a regular gasoline car a little more fuel efficient, versus a totally radical change, like inventing the electric car from scratch. But then you can take it even one step further to a system innovation. A professional car sharing service? That's a good incremental step. But a fully integrated electric mobility system for an entire city? Wow, that's a complete transformation of how we live.
This all sounds great, doesn't it? But if we have all these amazing ideas, why isn't the world just magically turning into a green paradise? Well, that gets us to the absolute core of the problem, what we can call the market's blind spot.
And here's the tough pill to swallow. The free market, which has been the engine for so much progress in history, is just not driving green innovation at the speed or the scale that we desperately need. It's just not happening on its own.
There's actually an economic term for this. It's called a market failure. It's what happens when you just leave the market to do its thing, and the result isn't the best one for society as a whole. And when it comes to the environment, boy, are we seeing a massive market failure in action.
So why does this happen? A huge piece of the puzzle is something called an externality, and this little cartoon explains it perfectly. The driver of the car is creating pollution, right? But they aren't paying the cost for that dirty air. The cyclist behind them is, and so are all of us, through health problems and a damaged environment. That cost is external to the person who created it. That's a negative externality.
Now, here's where it gets really fascinating. With environmental innovation, it turns out we don't just have one market failure messing things up, we've got two of them, and they're working together. Okay, let's break this down. On the left, we've got problem number one, the one we just talked about, the environmental externality. Companies can pollute for free, so there's no real market incentive for them to spend money to get cleaner, simple enough. But then over on the right, you've got this second, much sneakier problem, the knowledge externality. Think about it. When a company spends millions inventing some brilliant new green tech, other companies can often just copy it or reverse engineer it for way cheaper.
The first company took all the risk, but they don't get all the reward. This is actually a positive externality. Society benefits from this new knowledge spreading around, but it makes a company think twice before inventing in the first place. See the trap? You've got one force taking away the reason to be clean, and another force taking away the reason to invent clean technologies. This double externality problem creates a perfect storm where, from a purely business perspective, companies will pretty much always underinvest in environmental innovation.
And this is the whole economic argument for why governments get involved. Policies are specifically designed to fix these two market failures. A carbon tax, for instance, directly tackles that environmental externality by finally putting a price tag on pollution. And things like R&D subsidies or strong patents, they tackle the knowledge externality by making sure the inventor gets rewarded for their risk.
You know, it really leaves you with a pretty big final thought. The market is an unbelievably powerful tool, but it's not perfect. It clearly has a massive blind spot when it comes to the long-term health of our planet. And it kind of makes you wonder, if it can miss something this huge, what else might it be missing? All the information we've gone through in this explainer was drawn from a guest lecture on environmental innovation by Professor Rainer Quitzow of the Technical University of Berlin. Thanks so much for tuning in.